At 74, I realized something painful. It wasn't a mistake I made loudly. It was the habit everyone praised me for. Stay with me, Health. Because if you're doing this too, it's quietly destroying your life.
At 74, people expect you to talk about memories that make you smile. They expect stories about children, holidays, old photos, things that feel warm and safe. No one expects this. I'm not here to talk about a mistake that ruined my life overnight. I'm here to talk about something much quieter, something everyone around me praised, something I was proud of. A habit I thought made me strong. All my life, people called me easy to deal with. She doesn't complain. She's so patient. She never makes things difficult, and I wore those words like medals. When something hurt me, I didn't speak. When someone crossed a line, I smiled. When I felt ignored, disappointed, or lonely, I told myself it wasn't worth mentioning. I believed silence was maturity. I believed staying quiet meant I was emotionally strong. I believed that if I didn't make noise, life would stay peaceful. And for a long time, it worked. At least on the outside. I built a life that looked calm, a marriage with no shouting, a home with no drama, children who never saw their mother angry. But calm is not the same as close, and quiet is not the same as love. Every time I swallowed my feelings, something small broke inside me. Not loudly, not enough for anyone to notice, just enough to change me. When my husband forgot things that mattered to me, I said nothing. When decisions were made without me, I adapted. When I felt unseen, I convinced myself that my feelings were too small to matter. I told myself, it's fine. I told myself, this isn't worth a fight. I told myself, strong women don't complain. But strength, I learned too late, is not about how much you can endure quietly. It's about how honest you're willing to be. Over the years, my silence taught the people around me something dangerous. It taught them that I didn't need to be checked on, that I was always okay. That my inner world was closed. My husband stopped asking how I felt. My children stopped coming to me with their worries, not because they didn't love me, but because I had trained them not to enter my emotional space. Silence is like that. It doesn't push people away suddenly. It creates distance slowly. No arguments, no dramatic moments. Just a quiet drift. One day you wake up and realize you're living with people who know your routine, but not your heart. I remember the exact moment it finally hit me. It wasn't during a fight. It wasn't during a loss. It was an ordinary evening. I was sitting alone in the living room. The house was quiet in that familiar way I had once been proud of. No noise, no conflict, no voices. And suddenly, that quiet felt heavy. I realized I had spent my whole life avoiding discomfort and ended up avoiding connection. I avoided difficult conversations. I avoided expressing disappointment. I avoided saying, this hurts me. And in doing so, I avoided being truly known. People think intimacy comes from time. It doesn't. It comes from vulnerability. And I had spent decades protecting myself from vulnerability by hiding behind silence. I thought I was keeping the peace. What I was really doing was building walls. Walls so polite, so calm, so invisible that no one realized they were there. At 74, you don't regret the words you said imperfectly. You regret the words you never said at all. I regret not saying, I feel lonely even when I'm not alone. I regret not saying, I need you to see me. I regret not saying, this matters to me. Because unspoken feelings don't disappear. They turn into resentment, then into distance, then into loneliness. And loneliness is loud once it finally arrives. If you're watching this and thinking, this sounds like me, please listen carefully. Silence is not maturity. Silence is not strength. Silence is a habit, and habits shape entire lives. Speaking up doesn't make you difficult. It makes you real. Discomfort doesn't destroy relationships. Avoidance does. Say the thing while there is still time for it to matter. Say it while people can still respond. Say it before silence becomes your personality. Because one day, you'll sit in a room you worked very hard to keep peaceful, and realize the silence you practiced your whole life is the silence you're left with. If this makes you uncomfortable, that's good. It means you still have time. I didn't.